Well, not often do the Kansas City Chiefs be the organization that is out for revenge, but that's exactly where the Chiefs find themselves today. The number one seed in the AFC currently as things sit, but the Chiefs head to Cincinnati with a little bit of perhaps the thought in their heads of 2 losses last season. What's that going to look like today? The Chiefs go to take on the 7-4 Cincinnati Bengals. We have a full house here for Kingdom Kickoff. We got Noah Groniger, Shaggy Shane Williams, and of course, Rich Boldinger back from, well, we can't say where Rich is back from because we could tell you, but we'd have to kill you. Rich, welcome back. How's everything going, my friend?
Good. I made it through the Cleveland waterfront yesterday in the dog pound. So I have some past history from that area when the stadium was maybe one of the toxic chemical dumps of the world. In fact, one of my last game there in Cleveland was with the New England Patriots, actually. After my career at Kansas City, we played a game there, and there was a nor'easter. Like a long story short, all the showers were backed up after the game. There was 3 feet of sewage water in the shower. And I had some big cuts I ran into the sideline, hit the bench in my leg. So I could not take a shower after the game. I had to put on sweats and sit on an airplane, fly back to New England until I got home to take a shower. That's how nasty it was. But that's my history of Cleveland. Hopefully things are more prettier today for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, the coldest game in NFL history, I believe, took place at Riverfront Stadium, Rich, back in the 80s in a playoff game with the Chargers. Now the Chiefs themselves haven't won in Cincinnati. Rich, maybe you'll remember this. It was September 9th, 1984, 27-22. And we could see a little, and there wasn't really HD cameras back then. It's kind of blurry, but I think we might recognize one of the players here from that 1984 team that was able to win at Cincinnati at Riverfront Stadium. It hasn't happened since. Rich, what are your memories of 1984 winning? That is your second year. You're green as grass, just trying to your second year, man. So
well, the midsection looked better in that picture then than it does now. That's for sure on that one. We will go no further with that either. But yeah, that was again, that was my third year in the National Football League, because I can hear with Kansas City and everything, and at that time. So just as a young guy learning the game, learning how to be involved, you thought your career in college, you learned everything. Then you get in the National Football League, and just you see people like that time. Anthony Munoz was the starting left tackle. Jim McNally was the line coach over there, who I had in college at Wake Forest, who helped me so much and everything. In fact, Jim will always tell you that I was the guy, because when I came in college at Wake Forest in 1978 is when they allowed you to start extending your hands, but you had to keep your hands supposedly a fist. Well, I wasn't smart enough. I kept my hands open. And I used to grab, and they would say, "Oh, that's holding. But Jim McNally carried that over in the NFL after that, and it was all there. So that's what I'm famous for, guys. I'm worth hundreds of millions of dollars because of that. So if you need my audience, so I know the best. But just coming in the league, I just remember in that game, for one, I met Anthony Munoz, and a guy that to me was my hero as an lineman, who did so much. I mean, remember, this is a guy who missed his senior year because of knee surgery and came in the Rose Bowl and was just demolishing people. So it was good. It was good to see the game, and it was a win there on the road. But you know what? Afterwards, there was always cold beer in the parking lot too. So those were the fun times.
Hey, Rich, I got a question for you. There's a lot of similarities between today's game, because you were the last player that Chiefs, team to win in Cincinnati in 1984. You played a lot of guard before Marty Schottenheimer came, and then you switched over to right. Then he moved you to right tackle.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are in that same situation now with another number 77. Andrew Wiley has got your number, and he played a lot of guard, and now he's been playing a lot of right tackle. Do you see a lot of similarities in his career with the Chiefs as the same as yours?
He's a much better athlete than me. I mean, guys, I cheated, lied, and steal. You know, I think the FBI is still after me for getting as many years as I did in that one. But yeah, I did. You know, the hardest thing about it, guys, is I always just say you're playing in space when you're a tackle. Guys have two ways to go: inside, outside on you. They got more opportunities to set you up and do moves, and you just have to be able to react quicker to it and stay in a good power position. I think Andrew Wiley has battled hard out there right there. Listen, I'd love them have a guard. If we had a tackle we could put there, Wiley would either start at left or right guard for me. He's he's the monster inside. So, but he's done what he's had to do for the Chiefs. He's played out there. He's battled. There's been some tough moments. But, guys, let's be honest. The defense lineman going forward, we're going backwards. So you're always going to be behind the step and everything. But I thought last week he played well. And, as I said, who do they run the ball behind all the time when they need positive yards? They go behind 77 all the time because he gets it done. So I like his attitude. I like the way he finishes, and he's battled. But it's a tough when you're from guard to tackle, because now there's a lot more room for things to happen. And believe me, they can happen quickly out there in the field against some of these athletes nowadays that are just simply off the charts for how big they are and how well they move.
Yeah, sticking with that offensive line, Rich. I mean, it's been a couple weeks since we've been able to all get together, do a pregame show. We're back. We're here for this huge revenge game against the Bengals. But the last time we talked was, I believe, Jaguars pregame. We didn't have a running game then. I think we might have one now with Isaiah Pacheco. What have you seen the past couple of weeks in getting that run game going?
Well, I think Andy's been listening to our show. After the 68 passing debacle, it was a great win for Patrick, but throwing the ball 68 times, I don't think we're going to see that many more times. I think he understands that you need a balance in this offense. I just think that some of these are components, the way they work. The running game, the short pass game will lead you to the deep passes. When you don't have somebody of the athletic ability of a Tyreek Hill, you're going to have to incorporate everybody. But Pacheco, I mean, this kid is a runner. And what you saw last week, too, catching the ball out of the backfield, really surprised me. And I like that. So, him and McKinnon just give you a 1-2 punch, speed outside between tackles, but also catching the ball. Really puts the defense in a bind because – I don't see many linebackers staying with these guys in coverage. So, Andy knows that this offense is better when it's balanced. That's the bottom line. You can't leave Patrick back there all by himself. We've struggled in some pass protection. So I just think that it's better when it's balanced. The ball's out quicker, and it gets in the rhythm, and it just moves better.
We've seen a lot of comments so far, Rich, talking about the games from last year. We talked about it at the onset. The Chiefs blew 2 double-digit leads in those games last year, first at Cincinnati, then at home against the Bengals in the AFC Championship game. When something like this happens and you're a team in the AFC that's a gold standard like the Chiefs have been, but you've got a team that seems to have your number a little bit, does that get in the heads of these players a little bit? Because the comments from Justin Reed this week, clearly his teammates are talking about this game being circled. The Chiefs Twitter account said we circled this game on the calendar. There's something about this Bengals thing. And is that in the heads of the players a little bit, which is crazy to think because the Chiefs have been the gold standard for so many years now.
Well, I think this team, Cincinnati, they follow their quarterback just like the Kansas City Chiefs does and follow the quarterback. I always talk about this, and Steve DeBerg always told me about this. You can talk about quarterbacks with great throwing ability and scrambling ability, but the first thing you got to have is a guy when he walks in that hole, people look at and respect. And Joe Burrows is one of those guys. That's why I think he's one of the top quarterbacks in the league. We can talk about the stats and the throwing, yes, but they find a way to get things done. And, when you look at this offense, no matter what it is, no matter what happens in the game, as long as there's time on the clock, there's a way that they'll find a way to make a play. And that's what makes Cincinnati such a tough team, because not only have such skilled athletes, but they compete for 60 minutes. They never quit on you. They run. I remember when I'm in the league, Seattle was always like that. No matter what, Joe Nash at nose tackle would run for 60 minutes, never quit on a play. That's what I feel Cincinnati is. And that's what they did to us in the second half. We got stuffed in the red zone. They couldn't get it in, and you end up kicking a field goal. And then, things just kind of fell apart from there. So they know how to turn the tide. They'll stay with you, and they can capture the moment just because of their athletic ability, and a guy like Chase coming back and Higgins showing how he's just improved his game so much from college. Maybe we'll find a Clemson receiver this year. So it's just when you have a quarterback who's a leader, who will always give you the opportunity, you believe they can always make a play. That's what makes Cincinnati a tough team. And I think Zach Taylor understands as head coach.
Do you think that there's 6 new rookies on the defensive side of the football. You discussed thoroughly the rookies 2 weeks ago when we talked to you about being compared to Kevin Ross and Albert Lewis. When you look at it in totality for this specific game, because there's no Ben Neiman, there's no Daniel Sorensen, there's no Tyrann Mathieu, there's no Anthony Hitchens, there's no Charvarius Ward, and there's no Rashad Fenton. Those guys have all been replaced by rookies. So Cincinnati is going to see a different defense. Do you think the Bengals are licking their chops at playing these rookies, or would you say that they still get the respect they deserve since the Chiefs are 9-2?
Well, I think one of the things we look at is, I'm still not sold on Cincinnati's running game. I know P. Ryan has been doing pretty good the last couple of weeks, but I think we can make this a one-dimensional game up front. Number 2, I think with just guys like Carlos Dunlap and the pressure they can bring. This is an offensive line that's given up 33 sacks. I think there's some question marks there. So I think we can get after people. And I think if there's one guy that's going to take a beating today, it's Joe Burrow. I think this guy, they are going to wheel out after the game. I promise you that this is what they're going to go after. So as long as I think we can keep it one-dimensional, we can bring some pressure, it's going to help your back end with your rookies. Are they going to make some plays? Probably so. I mean, Higgins and Chase are 2 of the best receivers. They're at the top, right? Their speed, their ability to make in tight coverage, be able to go up and get the ball. Are they going to make some plays? Probably so. But I think the defense is different this year in the sense that what we're doing against the run, what we can bring the blitz, and then also pressure up front. I think we put it all together. I think the Chiefs come away with a victory on this game.
I think you might have had the Bengals maybe not sleeping, but a little overconfident, puffing their chest out coming into this game because they beat the Chiefs twice last year, kind of embarrassed them in that second half in the AFC Championship game to get to the Super Bowl. And then you have Justin Reed go and run his mouth, and he doesn't really know the player he's talking about. Is it Tyler Higbee? Is it Higgins? T. Higgins? No, wait, it's Hayden Hurst. So he got a little confused in his matchup and who the tight end is. And then you had Hayden Hurst come back and say he's looking forward to it. He's probably the last person he wants to talk shit on. And so we're going to go to this clip of Justin Reed and then Hayden Hurst's response to what Justin Reed said. And Andy Reid wasn't happy about it because he came out in the media and said so. That Justin Reed has finally learned that that's not how we do it here in Kansas City. But here we go with Justin Reed and Hayden Hurst.
A big time tackle, like some of the missed tackles, explosive plays. A lot of it's going to come down to making the play on the ball, and they have 88 Higbee. No, it's not Higbee was with the Rams. What's his name? It is Higgins. It's Higgins. Higbee and Higgins. They're going to have him back. He's a very talented receiver too, more of a finesse type of guy. Not the best blocker. I'm going to lock him down, straight up. So, we're going to have to come out of the game, like I said, play our best game and go out and do it.
I guess whoever he thought he was talking about, don't really care.
Did you laugh or were you like?
I laughed a little bit. I don't know. I mean, you could pick anybody in this locker room, but I feel like I'm the last person you probably want to talk shit about because I have a long memory.
So you're keeping the receipts?
It's going to be fun.
Have you played him before? Have you guys had any interactions? Just no background on it?
Nope.
Ooh, a long memory, but only 300 yards and 2 touchdowns on the season there for Hayden Hurst. So I wouldn't say he's the last person you talk about.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not the wisest thing to do to give your enemy any type of energy, emotion, passion.
Yeah.
It's usually better to just keep your mouth shut. But hey, it's a challenge for the Kansas City Chiefs. They got stuffed by them twice for Cincinnati. So if this is what they've got to do, they break out of the box to bring an attitude and bring a beating on Cincinnati, then that's what you got to do. But I know going on the road, usually don't like to say too many things when you had to play against guys like Howie Long and stuff like that. You usually try to just keep it above water and go out and do your best. But it's a challenge for the Kansas City Chiefs right now. You look at their schedule right now, this is going to be the difference maker for them. So got to go on the road. They've been good on the road. Let's see what they can do defensively. But anyways, you put it all together, guys. The back end of this defense, the Chiefs, they've got to have some help up front. And I believe we can get after these guys. And I'm telling you, I want to go after Joe Burrow. I want to make him move, and I want to get a beat down on this guy. And I think that's how we're going to get a victory today.
Yeah,
Shane?
can we do that? Because we've seen that last year, the Bengals still had offensive line problems. They kind of revamped their offensive line, still having issues, maybe coming together a little bit, still giving up a ton of sacks. But last year, Chris Jones kept getting there almost and would fall off him, and we just couldn't get Joe Burrow down. He's able to move. He's able to move the pocket, able to get out and create big plays down the field with Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, maybe even Hayden Hurst, even though his 300 yards isn't scaring anybody. And, of course, Jamar Chase is back. Not sure Joe Mixon's going to be back. Still doesn't pass concussion protocol up to this point. As we've heard, it's going to kind of come down to today in a game-time decision. But can the Chiefs finally get home and get Joe Burrow on the ground?
Well, I think one of the things also too I think we will do that. I think where we're going to attack them in the blitz, I look for a lot of A and maybe even B gap getting through there, so he doesn't have a lane to escape. Look for us really to come through that A or B in terms of keeping him in the pocket and then squeezing him. He's a great athlete, Joe Burrow, no question about it. But I really don't see up front how you're going to handle Chris Jones. And as I said, Carlos Dunlap off the edge right now, playing great football. Yeah. So I think we're going to find a way where maybe we can pressure with just front four, or if we need to bring the blitz as a changeup, I think that's where we're going to be at. But also, too, guys, when you can take away the game, when Cincinnati not going to be able to run the ball, it'll become a long afternoon. I've been in those games, and by the third quarter, you're chasing ghosts because people are coming from anywhere to hit your quarterback. So that's what the Chiefs need to do. They got to win that game in the trenches up front immediately and set the tempo. And I think if they do that, they can then dictate on this. And again, if you can move your quarterback so he can't set his feet, yeah, he might make some throws, but eventually that pressure takes away the timing of that passing game. You don't get those opportunities to hit all those deep throws. So, hey, listen, as I said, they will make some plays, but I think overall Chiefs come out on top on this one, just because they control the tempo of the line.
Excellent.
Shane, question to you from the Chiefs' first night. Shaggy, what is the one thing it's going to take for the Chiefs to beat the Bengals? That's maybe, kind of a simplistic, loaded question there in a way. So what's the one thing it's going to take?
The one thing that they didn't do in the two last games that they played the Bengals last year, and that's play second half offensive football. If they play second half offensive football, if Patrick doesn't get discouraged, or not discouraged, but just thrown off his game, is what he alluded to at his press conference on Tuesday. If the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes run the football, if the Bengals defense keeps showing them that three-man defensive line look, I think they should run the football. Ronald Jones is more than likely going to be active. I don't think he'll be inactive. He was active last week. So I think they'll run the ball more with Pacheco and Ronald Jones in the second half and score points in the second half. It's pretty easy. If the Chiefs get out to an 18-point lead this today, I think if they keep the pedal down in the second half and score at least 10 more points in the second half, they'll win. What do you think, Rich?
I think so. Listen, they got DJ Reader in the inside there in that defensive line for Cincinnati. I think we'll do a better job. I think Trey Smith is a little more healthier now. Looks like the last couple of weeks he's been playing better. So I think you handle him inside. Then you've got that inside zone game. We can still get to the edge, I think, with running. So look for screen patterns. Listen, you don't want to sit back against Trey Hendrickson and Hubbard. Those two guys, they don't get a lot of love in the league, but these are two guys that never quit and rushing the passer. So I think that they can bring some. So that's why I think if we get a balance going today, I think look for that ball out of Patrick's hands quickly. They're not going to want him to stand in the pocket. That's where he got in trouble last year, just trying to make plays. And I think we all remember him doing the whirly bird last year before he threw that final interception that cost the Chiefs on that drive. So I think today it's going to be a quick passing game, an accomplishment with the running game. And that's how I think they're going to keep the ball moving, keep the change going. I just don't think they want to sit and get in third and long situations and, you're on the road, noise, everything like that. I just don't think you want to do that. So look for them to hurry up offense kind of today, or, hurry up to the line of scrimmage, get things and keep it going. That's how I think they're going to have the best rhythm.
Well, the Chiefs had some red zone issues last week at home against the Rams, and now that kind of brings us to our keys to victory. Rich's keys to victory. And I think you're going to touch on that topic, Rich.
Yeah, I just wanted to on the offense. Listen, last week was just not good in the red zone. But then again, how much did Andy want to show in that offense? I mean, first half didn't run the ball. Second half, we kind of put ourselves in a tough position. Patrick's not going to make the mistake in a look away pass and throw an interception. So look for us to get down there and bring a different attitude. A lot of shifts and motions, create the one-on-ones where I think that we can win, especially at the running back position. And as I said, when the Bengals have the ball, I'm looking for exotic blitzes, guys. Look for different creative packages. I think you saw some of that last week. You're going to have safeties. You're going to have corners. L'Jarius Sneed's going to be up there. I think they're going to try to get him through any lane they can. But I think it's going to be the groupings and the personnel that's going to really put Cincinnati in a bind, because if you break down their film and you look at this O-line, they're not very good in getting where they need to be. I'm not sure who makes the protection calls, whether it's from center or from quarterback. But there's been some issues where people just turned loose completely. And how Joe Burrow sometimes is still standing is beyond me. So that's why I think the Chiefs, if they can do some of that magic today. And as a former line, I'm going to tell you, is this guy a rusher? Is he a cover guy? Is he up? Is he back? Chiefs, I saw some of that last week. I think the Chiefs put that on film just to put that in Cincinnati's mind that, they're going to unload on us on this. So we got to make sure that we communicate. If not, it could be a long afternoon for our quarterback.
Well, guys, as we start heading to the noon hour with a great slate of games, we're going to go ahead and give our predictions and let you guys enjoy this first Sunday in December of NFL action. It's always a pleasure, and it's going to be a great day for some red zone. If you have access to that, guys, it's going to be fast and furious. So as I look at this, and, we talked about on our show earlier this week, the Arrowhead Allies, about how traumatized I am by past situations. Rich, I'm still not over the Chiefs' 92 playoff loss to the Chargers, for instance, 17-0. I'm still pissed at you guys for putting up 0 in that game. So, of course, I have a pretty good memory from last season. 2021 has me shook, guys. I predicted a Bengals win on Arrowhead Allies. I'm sticking to it. I got Bengals 31-28, and I'm going to see. I got in my head visions of a lot of flags, a lot of grabs, a lot of defensive holdings, moving the chains for the Bengals. I know it's fresh in the minds. I think the Chiefs' chance in this game is the fact that the Bengals only have 17 sacks on the season. They rank in the bottom 4 teams in the league of getting sacks outside of Hubbard and Hendrickson. Not really a lot of pressure from the Bengals. So if Shaggy said this offensive team keeps it up in the second half, that's going to be a big key. But I got the Bengals winning it with a McPherson field goal at the gun, 31-28. Oh. Are you leaving, Rich, or are you throwing me into the closet?
No, I think I had some people just walked in. Right in the middle of the show. But it's all right. I overcame. It's all right. We made it through, and that's all that matters.
Will the Chiefs overcome as well? Will they beat the Bengals?
I got the Chiefs because Patrick just became a father again to a son on Monday night. So I think that's going to inspire Patrick to go out there and win. And I think the Chiefs are going to win by running the football. They're going to run the football in the second half, and they're going to take it to the win. And Andrew Wiley's going to deliver at right tackle, just like Rich Baldinger did for Marty Schottenheimer. When Marty Schottenheimer took that back up, or that left guard and right guard, and put him at right tackle, they're going to run behind Andrew Wiley, and the Chiefs are going to win this thing in the second half, 34-30. What do you say?
I love it. And man, usually I'm saying no. Patrick Mahomes, I see him throw 68 times. That's something I love. I'm a gunslinger. That's why I wanted Mahomes over Deshaun Watson. I thought maybe Deshaun would be the better pro quarterback, but I wanted the gunslinger. I saw Marino. I saw Favre. I saw Warren Moon. I saw Jim Kelly do it. We hadn't had that here in Kansas City, so I wanted to see it. I wanted Patrick Mahomes. We got him. We got the better quarterback. We got maybe the best quarterback in the NFL, maybe in NFL history. That's going to play itself out here as we go. But guys, Patrick Mahomes was embarrassed in that second half of that AFC Championship game. This means a lot to him. This means a lot to Andy Reid, that coaching staff that got embarrassed in the second half when the Bengals were dropping 8 and they didn't run the football. They kept throwing in to 8 men dropping into coverage. They're going to run the ball. They have faith in the run game with Isaiah Pacheco, this offensive line. If they see that 8-man drop for the Bengals, they're going to be able to run the football with Pacheco. The guys are going to rally around Patrick Mahomes and not let the same thing happen that happened in the AFC Championship game. I do have a close game, 31-27 Chiefs. Rich?
Oh, without a doubt. The Kansas City Chiefs are going on the road today for business. They're going there to Cincinnati, and it's going to be a victory for them. close game too. I'm going to go with 28-21. I think the difference is, 2 weeks in a row, last week they came back, forced those 2 turnovers in the fourth quarter. That was the difference maker, kept them anything from happening from the Rams. So I like what their defense does. They're making plays when they have to make it. Yeah, have they given up? Have they some mistakes? But today they're going to go ahead and get those turnovers in the fourth quarter. And, the 2 guys we haven't talked about, Derek Nottie and Saunders, those 2 guys are lights out. They're playing lights out football right now. So I like what they're doing up front. I think the defense controls this. And we might want to remember also, I don't see anybody blocking Chris Jones. 10.5 sacks on the year, guys. This man's going to have an unbelievable game. Chiefs come out on his top 28-21 today.
Yeah, up for defensive player of the year, Chris Jones is.
I am cheering for all 3 of you and cheering against myself. First, you mentioned the 10.5 sacks, first double-digit sacker in Kansas City since 2018 when Jones and D Ford both accomplished that. So Chiefs actually have 35 sacks, doubling up the Bengals total. So that's going to be key. You guys mentioned it all. Thanks so much for joining us here on Kingdom Kickoff. It has been tremendous to be here with you this morning. Enjoy the slate of NFL games, guys. As we get to this point in the season, things start to tighten up. The AFC race, the Chiefs have the stronghold on the 1 seed. We will see if they can keep it in tow today with a huge one here at Cincinnati. Guys, enjoy it. Thanks for joining us here on Kingdom Kickoff. Appreciate you guys being here. Enjoy the day.
Go Chiefs!
Go Chiefs!
Very cool.